Hi, Patrice Lynn here. I'm here today to talk to you about inspiration, about living your life from an inspired place, from maybe just a moment or a flash of inspiration or insight that comes to you that gives you the idea from which you can take and build a strategy and a strategic action plan that comes from that inspiration. Now, I'm going to tell you 4 stories of 4 very famous people. The first one is Jim Carrey. Now, Jim Carrey got the inspiration to write a check to himself for $10 million for acting services rendered. And he carried it around with him in his wallet, and a repetition of seeing it over and over and over again really embedded it into his brain. And then not only did he do that, he took some action. He went up to Mulholland Drive in Hollywood, and he sat and looked over the city, and he visualized, he closed his eyes and visualized directors wanting to work with him, people wanting to make deals with him, people receiving him really well. And sure enough, before the deadline he had set to make that $10 million, Thanksgiving of 1995, he got a contract for $10 million to make the movie Dumb and Dumber. Wow. The other person I want to tell you about is Oprah. Now, Oprah's grandmother was a housekeeper, and Oprah remembers very clearly watching her grandma hang laundry on the line. She said it was a very still, cold day, very quiet. And her grandmother was wanting her to watch her put these clothes on the line because she said, someday you're going to have to do this yourself. Now, Oprah was 4 to 5 years old, and the inspiration came to her in that moment that there was more than that for her life. And she said she held on to that belief for many, many, many years. And of course, we know what an incredible influence Oprah has been as a television icon and somebody that interviews people and has such heart-to-heart communications. So that was very fun to hear about her moment of inspiration. The other one I want to share with you is J.K. Rowling, the woman that wrote the Harry Potter books. She had an inspiration while she was on a train. And she said she always loved to write, she loved to read, and one day she was on a train and she just got this inspiration. Boy doesn't know he's a wizard, goes to wizard school. And then she said, bam, 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 it started flowing and coming to her that he would be at this wizard school, and all these things about the wizard school started flowing. Now, the part that I thought was really intriguing is that she didn't actually have a pen to write it down at the moment. So she remembered all these things, and this blinding inspiration that came to her, and then she was able to get to where she wrote it down later. Now, she has sold over 400 million copies of the Harry Potter books, but she is the world's first self-made billionaire author. So we see what happened with her moment of inspiration, but then of course there was a lot of hard work and a strategic action plan that came along with it, and a lot of work to get the right publisher to actually publish her book. Now, the last story is Sara Blakely. Sara Blakely is the woman that invented Spanx. So she's an inventor, and she had this idea to cut off the pantyhose, her pantyhose, because she used to work as a professional young woman, and she wanted to have the firmness of the pantyhose without having the hose in the sandals. So she cut them off and started playing around with the idea that other people would want this too. So she looked for a manufacturer, and she was going through this whole process of getting it manufactured, and all of a sudden she started thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder if it's really going to be worth the effort to do this. So you know what she did? She asked for a sign. Now, this is one of my favorite stories here, because she came home, plopped down on a couch, turned on the Oprah show, and there was Oprah talking to one of her guests about how she cuts off her pantyhose so that when she wears sandals, she doesn't have hose in her sandals. And then she flipped up her bottom of her dress and showed the whole audience these cut off pantyhose. And in that moment, Sara Blakely had her inspiration, and she knew that she should take the $5,000 she had in savings, all the money she had, invested in this company. And wow, what a story. Today, she is a self-made billionaire, and she's the inventor of Spanx. So these are some great stories that I think really exhibit the power of inspiration and why it's so important to live from a place of inspiration, and that is what determines the next steps we take and the strategy that we then develop from that place of inspiration. So thanks for listening. Have a great day.